right, welcome back to Eat This Girl podcast. Yay! And today's a very special episode because it is our first interview episode ever, and it is with our lovely, amazing, talented, inspiring, passionate friend, Kennedy. Hi. Yay, we've mentioned her a few times on the podcast before, I think, and she'll tell you more about herself, but she's in town for a short amount of time, and we had to make this happen. So we're excited to hear from her. But first, Lizzie has our opening question. Want to go for it? Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, Allison and I are sharing a mic for the first time ever, so if the audio is whack, we apologize. We're going to try really hard to make sure it's not. But we've never done this before, so we don't know how it's going to go. But here is the deal. First of all, Kennedy, have you ever listened to the podcast before?
You can say no. Genuinely, I've listened to it briefly on your Eat the Scroll Instagram.
Okay. Better than nothing. Good job.
Thank you.
Why would you ask her that?
Because I just wanted No, the reason I ask is because if you haven't listened to them all the way through, then you might not know that we start every single episode with just like a random question.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, I didn't tell them what the random question was going to be because it's really silly. And
It's silly.
So here's what I want to do. The question is, whatever. It's not really, I'm not going to phrase it as a question. I want each of us to say what we think the other people's beige flag is.
Beige flag. Can you explain that?
Yes.
No freaking way am I the only one who knows.
No, I know what a beige flag is.
Okay.
A beige flag isn't a red flag. I don't think.
Okay, so a beige flag, you can probably explain it better than I can.
It's kind of like a green flag, but beige is like, it's like a comfort little, like, what's your favorite little cutie thing?
Okay, you guys go first so I can.
You know what I mean? Am
I
right?
Okay, so for example, one day a couple months ago, I was driving down the road with my sister in the car. Well, this is what my sister says mine is. Okay. But I want us to say what we think the other people's are. Oh. But to give you an example, we were driving down the road. I was with my sister, and she just randomly was like, Lizzie, I think your beige flag is that you regularly listen to Spotify made playlists.
Yeah, okay.
I agree. Oh my god.
This is disgusting.
I was literally...
The red flag.
Okay, now I can go first. Because it's very similar to that.
Wait, are you doing for yourself or are you doing for
Can I do it for you?
Yeah, do it for both of us. Like, what do you think ours are?
Okay. It's very similar to that. I was literally thinking about this while I was putting my makeup on. I'm not even kidding. I was like, if me and Lizzie ever have a conversation about things that are just weird about each other, like, this is what I'm going to say. And it's that you don't, like, listen to music. Like, you don't. Like, I've never met someone that just, like, does not care so much about music. And it's so interesting to me. And it's fine and it's lovely. But I'm like, how do you survive?
It's not that I don't listen to music. I just am not, like, a music connoisseur. Yeah, like, I listen to music to have background noise. I don't listen to music for, like, the feels of music. You know
like,
what I mean?
The artists and, like, all that kind of stuff.
Like, I listen to worship music for a specific purpose, but otherwise I generally listen to it because I don't want to feel like I'm alone.
Yeah.
That is funny to me. I have a complete opposite experience.
Okay, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm going to have to think about it for a second. A beige flag. Okay, I can do one.
Okay.
She freaking loves biscuits and gravy, but it hurts her tummy every single time. It doesn't make her stop. She still is going to eat the southern nasty food. Like, not nasty, but the southern just bad for you food, even though it's going to wreck her digestive system.
So absolutely. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, my beige flag for Kennedy, she is the literal worst at responding to text messages.
We're just insulting each other.
That's not even a
beige flag. It's a red flag.
It's not a red flag because you don't mean it, like, in a bad way. You know what I mean? Like, it generally, you genuinely just,
You're
like,
so
don't.
where you are.
Like, you so much prefer talking in person or, like, on FaceTime, like, text messages, you just could not be bothered because it's, like...
It's a task.
Yeah.
It is.
Ugh.
It's not a red flag. Like, to me, it's kind of a green flag because it means that you value, like, face-to-face conversation more. But, like, even... Okay, so you'll learn more about this, but Kennedy lives like on the other side of the world. And so I usually give her like a 2-day grace period because of the 14-hour time difference. But even when she's here in town, like if you get a text reply back from her in the same day, you are like, lucky. You're doing so great.
I literally have to set apart like a day to like
respond.
Okay, this is my day that I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna set aside 30 minutes.
I do that too.
There's a spider in here.
Is that a mosquito or a spider?
It's a
Spider,
spider.
do you want me to kill it?
It's
Oh,
okay.
fair,
He's
then.
just chilling.
He's just chilling.
As
Yeah.
long as it's not a mosquito, I hate those.
Okay. Hold on. I need to think about your beige flag. If you have any, you can go because I'm thinking about hers.
I thought beige flag was completely different. I thought it was like a cutie little. Aww.
It can be. I think it's just like it's not a red flag, but it's not a. It's like not a red flag, but it's not a green flag.
Okay, my beige flag for you.
Okay.
I think this is actually just my favorite thing about you, but it's a green flag, but this maybe it could be bad. I don't know. But that you're such a binger. And I love it. It's awesome. Like I don't feel bad ever doing anything. Like I could just lay and watch TV with you all day, or I could
probably
play.
been watching longer, so it's okay.
Yeah, or I could play video games all day with you. I'm like, I don't feel bad at all. It's nice.
It's true. My husband regularly tells me that I have a binging personality, which is honestly,
That's so
It's
true.
beige flag.
it's not a good thing. But it's that way with like with books, with TV shows, with game. Like if I get on something, I am on it, and I'm gonna stick to it until I have absolutely burnt it out.
Yeah.
So-
Remember when you ate the same breakfast like every day?
I
don't
still
know, maybe
do
you
that.
still do
Still
that.
does that. English muffin, turkey
Well,
sandwich,
yeah,
and-
it has-
and blueberries.
Yeah.
It changed from that after I went gluten-free because then I couldn't get my favorite English muffins anymore. So now it's 2 fried eggs, a hash brown, and 2 pieces of bacon and blueberries
Yum.
and a cup of coffee.
She'd never sacrifice the blueberries for her life.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely not. They could literally be killing me and I would still.
You're like her. Weird food thing.
Yeah.
Weird food.
Yeah. Okay, I need to think about one for you.
Yeah, me too. You're just such a green flag. I can't think.
Yeah, you're just such a green flag.
This is so weird.
We might be totally missing the mark on what beige flags are, but I think one for Allison is that
I can think of so many for myself. But I'm just gonna let other people come up with.
Okay.
Just say it, Lizzie.
Allison is like always late, but not late. Like, okay, let me explain.
Are
Like-
you either late or not late?
Okay. So Allison is late so frequently that Allison being late isn't late.
It's on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I feel like you just have an automatic pass for being late.
Oh, that's nice.
And
I hope so.
like, I don't know if this is a beige flag. It's not a red flag. It's just so like you,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone just knows it's you.
And so
You know
it's
what I mean?
fine.
And
Yeah.
it's fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. I
Yeah.
am late to everything.
Okay, I have one, but I don't know what this word is.
Yours might be better than mine.
No, mine's not that good, but I think it's good. I don't know.
OMG, I have another one.
Okay,
Sorry.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay.
Allison doesn't. I don't think I've ever told you this.
Oh no.
I know
Wait,
this is.
oh
Allison doesn't use. She doesn't use spoons when she eats applesauce.
That's so random.
She literally just like
no. I
slurps
don't use
it.
spoons at all when I'm eating a fruit cup. For
Yes.
any fruit.
Okay, that is your ultimate
Why
beige
would you when you
flag.
can
I just-
slurp it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I notice it every single time you're eating any kind of fruit cup, and I'm like, does this girl not know what spoons are?
It's not worth it. My tongue is a spoon.
Okay, yes, that's my beige flag for you.
Okay, that was funny.
I think I don't know how to explain this. I'm gonna try and explain this the best I can. I think like when I tell you something, like I don't know, like I feel like if I could tell you anything and you'd just be completely shocked. Like like when I tell you like facts about Australia, you're like, what? You're like so shocked. I don't know what like that
That is
is.
so true.
Impressed, I
Yeah,
guess.
he's so easily impressed. But I also, in the same way, I feel like I think that's cute. So that's the green
Thank
part in
you.
it. I think the
Yeah.
red part in it is I could tell you a complete lie, and you'd be like,
And I would believe
yes,
you. Yeah.
what?
That is so true. Oh my
That's
gosh.
true. I'm a bit gullible for sure.
But I love it. It's so
Thanks,
sweet.
Boo.
Yeah, it's
That's
beige.
fun.
Yes,
I'm
that's
learning about
100% true.
myself. I'm learning about myself.
Yeah.
And I think also the green flag in it is that you're just like 100% committed to whatever anybody needs to be committed
Yeah, I
to.
love it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Committed.
Oh, that's so funny.
That was a good question.
That was a good question.
Did we do everybody?
Yeah, I think we. What is my water?
That's cute. We only spent 12 or less minutes on it.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm telling you, it's the baby oil gel.
can you send me a screenshot?
Yes.
Baby oil gel.
I am not that soft.
After I shave,
Ooh,
when I turn
girl.
the water off,
Oh,
before
no.
I dry off, I put baby oil gel on, and then I like pat dry, and then I put lotion on top of it.
Oh yeah, I've heard patting drying, like not complete, like drying your skin and then moisturizing it is better.
I need to do that.
Okay. I'm starting to get a headache, and I don't know why.
Am I doing good with my mic?
Yeah, you do.
You better take medicine now so it doesn't get worse. Another beige flag.
Wait. I'll be okay.
Lizzie, okay. Another beige flag. Lizzie lets everything get terrible before she does anything about it ever.
It's true.
Whether that comes to her headaches, whether that comes to her hunger, whether that comes to her emotions, it just has to get bad before she's willing to take care of it. I don't know, man. We can cut that out. That's too personal.
It's so true, though. Oh my gosh.
All right, that was a great question. Thank you so much, Lizzie. That was a fun little time for us. Lots of giggles, of course. We're gonna just ask Kennedy some questions about her life, her experience, just in hopes to share her amazing self with you guys and hopefully inspire somebody with the things that she's learned and just everything that she goes through as a missionary. We haven't said that yet. Kennedy's a missionary.
I'm a missionary.
In Whitsunday, Australia. And she's been there for the past year, but really 2 years.
Yeah.
And she has another year to go. So, you want to ask the first question?
Sure. Okay, so we just want you to tell us what you do. What does life look like for you right now? And just kind of where God has you and, how you're doing the whole missionary thing.
The whole missionary thing. Yeah, so I work with an organization called YWAM. It stands for Youth with a Mission. So basically, young people will come from different nations who are interested in doing mission work. And you have a 3-month lecture phase where we learn about the character and nature of God, spiritual warfare, Holy Spirit, relationship, all the things, and just getting a solid foundation of who God is, knowing Him, and deconstructing kind of the thing, not all the things, but deconstructing the things from your worldview, from what you've been taught your entire life, and really just knowing God for yourself. So yeah, that's what happens for the first 3 months. And then depending on where you're at, because this is an organization that's all across the world, depending on where you're at, it's a 3-month or 2-month outreach phase. So you'll go to a nation, and sometimes you'll have a focus, like it may be medical or like there's just tons of things in YWAM. But usually you just go and your main goal is to share the gospel, evangelize, in whatever way that looks like, and serving, preaching the gospel, whatever it is. So, so you do that, and people can continue to like serve in YWAM if they want to be a missionary, or they can go off and go to a business and just have that foundation of who God is and how we're supposed to, bring the kingdom here. Yeah.
So tell them kind of like, so you went in to YWAM doing a DTS.
Yeah.
And then what was that like? And then what did you do after
Yeah.
you decided to go back? And what was that like?
So I went in the year of 2022, I believe. Right when I graduated high school, I just felt like God wanted me to fully pursue him and go deeper in relationship. And so somebody from YWAM as well came to our church here and talked about YWAM. And so
we have a lot of young people at our church that go to YWAM.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
really
we
awesome.
love it.
Yeah. So I was like, heck yeah, that sounds amazing. So then I went and decided to go to Australia. I have no idea how. It just came about. And I was like, okay, yeah, Australia sounds awesome. And yeah, I did a DTS, which is a discipleship training school. That's the entry course I was talking about. And it was life-changing. I think just knowing God for myself and breaking down the false beliefs I had about his character and who he was. And obviously you do that your entire life. But I think just like the process of starting that and being like, okay, God, are you really like as good as you say you are? And then actually seeing it.
In such an unfamiliar place too. Like you've never been there and you've never met any of the people all around you.
Yeah, that's also an amazing part. Like being thrown together with a bunch of cultures allows you to like humble yourself and realize like, actually the way that I view things is not the way that everybody else views things. So I think that was really amazing. And then long story short, I lead worship. And I was learning to fall in love again with worship and like what it actually means to worship God. And it's not just a performance. And in that time, my bass leader from YWAM asked me if I would like to like help lead the music DTS that would come the next year. And I was like, oh, so nervous. But then I prayed about it and I really like got confirmation from God like through scripture. And somebody had a dream, which was really cool. But I got confirmation just about staying and, yeah, serving him and doing exactly that, like leading the music DTS. So that's what I do now, staffing the DTS and just discipling that process. That process.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's so perfect for you. Like if anyone knows you, you're such an adventurer.
Yeah.
And so, like literally nobody was surprised when Kenny was like, yep, I'm going to Australia. And you get back, yep, I'm going back.
Okay.
We're like, all right.
Yeah.
God bless. But we do miss you when you're gone.
Of course.
Okay, so the next question, which I think you already started touching on this just in that answer, but what are, like, let's just say the top 2 or 3 things that you've learned about God or just your relationship with him through your time at YWAM?
Yeah. I think like the number one thing that like made it all kind of like click where I could like start, I don't know if that makes sense, but start a process and a relationship and a partnership with God was like realizing that I don't have to do anything for his love. I could never do anything to deserve his love, but yet he still freely gives it to us. And so I think like once I understood that like the whole thing, like, oh, I should be going to church more, I should be reading my Bible more, it's like actually Jesus just loves you and he gives that gift to you freely and you don't have to do anything to deserve it. You don't have to do anything to get it. And so I think operating, like once I realized that and that clicked and I was like, oh my gosh, like God is actually just so good that he just wants to love me and not like without me doing anything. And then operating from a place of that where it's like, oh, I get the privilege to serve you. Not that it's like my duty, but like it's my privilege to serve you.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I think that's probably the number one thing I learned.
Yeah.
Where do you think that original mindset that you had, that you maybe had to like work for it or like do something for God's love, do you feel like you learned that? Obviously you learned it here in America, but what do you think made you learn that? Do you think it was community or church or just like America's performance mentality anyways? Like, what do you think causes that? Because I feel like I have that too. I feel less than when I don't read my Bible as much and when I don't pray as much. Like my worth kind of in him, in my head, takes it down a couple notches whenever I'm not doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And do you think that that's just American culture, like American church culture, or what?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it is an American church culture kind of thing. And I think it is like a tactic of the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like ultimately shame.
Yeah.
And you being like, you're not doing enough when
Mhm.
there's literally nothing you could do that would be enough, you know?
Yeah.
But I think also, like, this is a strength, like, in the Western countries, is that we work extremely hard.
Mhm.
Like, we really love to work, and we're work driven,
Mhm.
and that's just known. And it's amazing in missionary work because, like, when you get a Westerner who's, like, called to missions, they'll, like, work and, like, I don't know, like, do a
all the
lot.
things.
And that's amazing. But I think just, like, if you don't start, it just becomes, like, a task. I don't know.
Mhm.
And, like, I think you do learn that, like, in your culture. You're like, okay, you have to work for this because you don't deserve it unless you work for it. And so I think just, like, it's like, you don't deserve it actually either way.
Yeah.
But God's just so good to give it to you.
Mhm.
I don't know if that kind of, like...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that, so, like, I feel like you don't see that as much in other places of the world
Yeah.
because they're, like, for example, a lot of the, like, villages and places that you guys go on your outreach missions, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously I've never been there, but it's like they don't have any other option but to just, like, love the Lord and love the fact that he loves them, because they're, like, their lives are just so different from ours here. Like, we have so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like because of that, I don't know, I think it just makes it harder to understand this thing that's just so freely given, because we do have to work for everything, but also through that work we have gotten so much. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, there are people in other places and they do work very hard, and it's not like they're working any less hard, but their access to things is so much more limited. So I feel like because of that, maybe they don't automatically equate hard work with gain.
Yeah.
You know what does that make
Definitely.
sense? And I feel like that maybe is a reason why, at least in America, we equate, like, how we work for God as gaining his love, because everything that we do in work gains us something.
gaining.
Yeah,
gains
absolutely.
us money, gains us possession, gains us power, or, like, a higher rank in our job, whatever it is.
And that just leads to, like, us being people that have expectations, which can be dangerous.
Yep.
In your relationship with God,
Yep.
having... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing. Yeah. Anyways.
Yes,
Yeah.
but do you feel like that, like, would you say that's accurate? Because obviously I haven't been to the places that you've been, but do you feel like do you see that kind of difference?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think, I don't know what it is, but, like, in Papua New Guinea, for example, we have, like, more of a mentality of, like, you live to work, and, like, they have more of, like, oh, you work to live, like, and so, like, they really truly, like, live and are in the moment. And I think, I don't know what it is, but, like, because they're not so materialistic in like getting and receiving, it's like they see so much more blessing.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why it's so, like, easy for them to just be like, oh, like, God's just such a blessing.
Oh,
like,
that's
Papua
so
New
good.
Guinea is just like I don't know, God's love is so prevalent there. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I could actually talk about that all day long.
That's
It's so
amazing.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So we're number 3.
So good. Number 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is the most difficult part about being a missionary, and what's the most rewarding?
Yeah, I forgot about this question. Okay. Yeah, I think the most difficult thing about being a missionary is and I think this is in any ministry anyways, but it can be quite lonely sometimes. Like, I think when you try and convince yourself that you're in a unique situation or that, like, nobody has ever experienced this before, or even, like, specifically with mission work, sometimes when I go to Papua New Guinea and then I come back and I, like, talk to my family or something, I experience so much more. Not more, but I have just a different perspective, I think, on things. And so, like, that can be so isolating and lonely. But just to know that, like, actually no situation is that unique. I don't know, just, like, kind of being like, calm down, Kennedy. Like, it's really not that unique. But it does, like, that is a real struggle of it just being, like, lonely and kind of isolating. Especially when, like, you're in a different culture. You don't know people, and you're like, I just want to be friends, but I also don't do the same things that you do.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of ministry in general, I think.
Yeah.
But I think the most rewarding thing, I think it's probably just, I don't know, knowing that I'm living, like, this may sound arrogant, and I hope it doesn't, like, know my heart.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, just knowing that I'm actually, like living a life for God,
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm, like, consistently laying my life down for God every day. Like, I find that so rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, thank you, Jesus, that I actually, like, it clicked in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that I'm actually, like, I know these things at such a young age.
Yeah.
And not that I know everything, but, like, I understand, like, the simple concept of dying to yourself and living for
Yeah.
God. And so I think that's, like, I don't know if that's quite, like, the question, but I think that's the most rewarding thing that could happen.
I think that's so good just because, and it's hard, another thing about, I guess, just being in the West is that it's really hard, it's harder to learn that here
Yeah.
than somewhere else when you're in just an unfamiliar place where you're maybe uncomfortable. 'Cause honestly, like, we don't push ourselves to face uncomfortable situations here a lot. And I think you learn so much about dying to self, obviously, when you lay yourself down and do what the
Mhm.
Lord says, not what makes you comfortable or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's just really easy to be comfortable here.
Yeah.
Especially, like, in a church in America. Because there's no risk.
Yeah.
At least right now, you know.
Yeah. We don't face.
We don't face a lot of...
Persecution.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
Anyways.
good.
That is good.
Okay. Next question. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who's considering mission work,
Okay.
what would your advice to them be?
I think just go for it. Like, so many people are like, oh, I would do it if I just blah, 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 blah. And then they have, like, some excuse. Like,
Yeah.
I think, how do I explain this? Sometimes I talk in a harsh way, and I don't mean it.
It's okay. You
I've
can.
never felt that about
Yeah,
you.
I've
ever.
never
Okay,
felt
that's
that way
good.
either. But you can. You have permission to.
Mhm. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. I think when you think you have the rights to life, when you're like, oh, I have a right to go to school, I have a right to make $1, I have a right to a family, a husband, I think that's a dangerous kind of thing. And so if you feel like God's calling you into missions, just to lay those rights down and be like, this is actually not my right to life, like, or it's not my rights in life. But getting to do missions, like, just do it, you know? Like, don't think about other things. It'll come. I think it's so rewarding and it's so fulfilling. And everybody, like, even people who aren't necessarily called into missions, but just going on a mission trip is, like it really changes you and it opens your heart. Like, serving, being there in the midst of it all, like, just go for it. I don't know if that may be too simple, but
No, that's so good. And I think that piece of advice can apply to anyone doing anything for the Lord, whether it's like devoting your life to mission work or like I don't know, the Lord is asking you to, like, I'm saying like so much, I hate that.
I think a lot. I think.
But if it's, you know, devoting your life to something, or if it's just something as simple as, hey, the Lord says, hey, I want you to go and just speak life over that random person that you don't know or whatever. And sometimes we can be like, oh, but Lord, like what if they get mad at me, or what if they
all these
do this?
excuses, yeah.
And like that idea of like your rights to life, where do I have a right to keep myself comfortable? Do I have a right to not let someone get mad at me for something I might say to them? You know, not really. Because if the Lord is prompting it, it's for a reason, and his reasoning is so much greater than ours, you know.
Yeah. This is just, let's talk about something that I hate.
Okay.
How fun is that? Something that really gets on my nerves is, and I see it so much in like ads and commercials, and I'm not above this. I've said stuff like this before, which is even more irritating, but just the whole thing, like, you deserve fill in the blank. Like, you're worthy of fill in the blank. And even a lot of Christians will, like, twist that and say, you know, you deserve love, like, all those things. When really, like, we literally don't deserve nothing, and that's what makes God so much more.
Yeah.
And like, what's
Thundering.
how cozy.
I love it.
But just like stupid stuff, like skincare commercials that are like, you deserve like to relax,
Like
you
the whole
deserve
self-care movement.
self-care. Yeah, like, and all these things. These things aren't bad, but when we have this, like you were talking about, kind of like these rights in our heads, like, oh, I have the right to all these things, it is sticky, and it's so hard. I think that's one of the hardest parts about when you're trying to lead somebody to the Lord and you are trying to help them flip that mindset, is literally getting them to understand that
It's not about them.
you're literally worthless. No, I'm just kidding. You're not worthless because Jesus died for you, and that's like
The greatest worth.
the greatest worth ever. But we do deserve nothing. Like, we deserved so much worse, but because we have him, we have so much. And I mean, do you agree? Do you disagree? Like, stuff like that just kind of gets on my nerves. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I wish I had a scripture to. I'm like, I feel like I need a word. But, anyways.
Yeah.
Well, I think the basis for that is the idea of dying to yourself. Like, you can't die to yourself if you're constantly saying, "Oh, I deserve this." That's not. Yeah. That's the opposite of dying to yourself. Yes. That's, building yourself up for whatever it is you think that you need or deserve, when really, like, the only thing that we can ever do to even come remotely close to deserving the sacrifice that Christ did for us is to lay down our lives for him in whatever way it is that he directs us, whether it's mission work or you're just serving your family well, or you're, there's a verse in 1st or 2nd Corinthians that says that everything you do, let it be for the glory of God, or whatever that, whether you eat or drink or do it all for the glory of the Lord. And that is so, like, that is how you lay down your life, is everything you're doing has to be for the glory of the Lord. And, if you're not doing it in a way that is, showing the fruits of the Spirit and all of those things, then you're not doing it for the glory of the Lord, and you're not truly dying to yourself and allowing him to be the one who is worthy instead of you,
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody has that. Like, I think to a certain extent, like, everybody has just an entitlement in, like, every nation. Like, ours is just probably a little bit more noticeable. But, yeah, everybody just feels like they have an entitlement. And I feel like this. I catch myself all the time. I just being like, oh, but God, I have this. This hasn't happened in my life yet, and it needs to happen. It's like, what? Kennedy? So, I don't know. Yeah.
I have similar things in my head where I catch myself and I'm like,
yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Product of being a human, I guess.
I don't, like, how dare I?
Yeah, I'm feeling very convicted right now.
Oh. Okay. You want to share with the class? No, I'm just kidding.
You already know?
I know what she's thinking, like, all the time.
Yeah, no, I think it's, if I'm being really real and honest, I've been wanting to get pregnant. I want a child. My husband and I want a child so desperately. And I have literally had those conversations with the Lord of, like, Lord, I feel like this is such a call you put on my life to be a mother. Like, why aren't you allowing it to happen?
And we never want to put, like, the call above just God in general.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I feel like that's another thing that we can easily do. Which this is no longer a conversation about missionaries. Sorry. It's just, like, different perspectives, but, like, what was I saying?
Putting the call above God. Don't put the call
above because God. We're so, like, work-oriented. We're like, God, give me an assignment. Like, give me something to do and then we'll, like, hyper-focus on, like, the call or the assignment.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it ultimately, that in itself will become, like, more important than just him. And it can get, I guess, I'm sure it could become an idol. And it's crazy that we can create idols out of things that he gives us.
Yeah.
Like, we can
Wild.
just turn and twist anything.
Mm-hmm.
But he still gives it to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Knowing that there's so much risk.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Positive spin on this. I learned this, like, do you know the word hesed?
Chesed.
Hesed?
His loving kindness.
Yes.
That's
We
the
spent like,
tattoo that I want on my body.
it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
We spent like a week like learning about lordship and like ultimately hesed and how much Jesus like loves you, basically. But just kind of like along the lines of like deserving nothing, but like the word hesed kind of means like somebody who doesn't deserve anything, but that person gives them everything.
Yeah.
And like that's how Jesus loves us. Like he gives us literally everything. Like he laid down his life, and it's insane. Like it just makes you see like how good he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like how good is God that like even though I don't deserve to be a mother, but he still like he actually trusts you and has a relationship with you and knows you enough to be like, I trust you with my children.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dang it, like you're so good, God.
And it makes us just, how can you not love him more?
I know, right?
Yeah.
I learned the word hesed my freshman year of college. It changed my whole life because I had this Old Testament professor, and she was amazing. She's the person that like helped me fall in love with the Old Testament, and hesed is a Hebrew word, and she kind of taught us that it meant like his loving kindness that will like chase after you no matter what. Like it just keeps pursuing you over and over and over again, and I have loved that word for so long. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next question. Do you have anything else to say about that question? The question was,
I don't remember the question, honestly.
I don't know, we kind of go,
Oh.
you had a piece of advice and you were like, just do it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Okay.
That was a while ago.
That was a while ago. Just do it. I think that applies to everything.
Yeah.
And like even when you're just feeling little pushes from the Holy Spirit, like in the grocery store, or like wherever, like we can always find a reason to convince ourselves that we shouldn't. But
Yeah.
anyways, okay. Next question. How has studying the word impacted you?
Good question. I feel like I have a few things. I'm still learning how to study the word. Obviously, there's so many ways. But I think the most impactful thing, and like the thing, my heart posture going into it, is kind of how can I see God more rightly? How can I see his character more purely? Like, and not being afraid to like ask God questions like, God, how is this good when you did this in the Old Testament? And how are you still shining through? So I think just to understand his character more is like the main thing that I have loved. But I think also I actually just not thought about this. I learned this because we have this biblical core course at our base, and they were like talking one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, like when you study the Bible, when you read it from the perspective of the person it was written to, I know that sounds so simple, but it's like you can actually learn so much more, like when you like relate with the person that it was like supposed to be written to, because it like wasn't like Paul didn't write a letter to us, like he wrote a letter to the other people, you know, and like understanding like the shoes that they were in and being like, okay, like this so is good. I don't know, I think I was able to like study it and take more in from doing that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I am just my little literature input. That is called audience.
Called audience.
And in the literature world, it's actually really important to know the author's intended audience.
Yeah.
Because if you're reading like a novel or whatever, or a poem, whatever it might be, and you don't know the intended audience, you lose so much of the purpose behind writing it.
Yeah.
So like if you read a love poem, but you didn't know that it was written from like one person to another person who they love, you might actually miss, because with poetry especially, there can be so much metaphors and like things like that where it's not necessarily plainly stated, oh, I love you. So if you didn't know that that was the intended audience, you might miss the entire fact that, oh my gosh, this is a love poem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to understand who the author is writing to in any piece of written work, but especially in the Bible, because you lose so much context when you don't understand. And that's how we get poor interpretations of the Bible. And we get, you know, people who are abusing what the Bible says to fit their own purposes because people aren't understanding who it was written to and why it was written to them. It's so important.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that.
Yep.
So good.
Anything else to add about that question? How has studying the word impacted you? Since this is a podcast about studying the word.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I think just like learning to see God more clearly.
Yeah.
And how much he speaks through the Bible. And also, I don't know, there's just so much goodness in it. But just seeing that, like, throughout the entire Bible, it was all just, like, a plan just to get right back to us. It was just, like, I think seeing God's consistency through, like, the covenants and, like, his promises and all the little intricate things that led to it. And, like, all these little details that he worked out just to make us come back to him. It's just so good. Like, and even like in Revelation, it's just another like thing just to make us back to him. So I don't know, I think that's just the more I could talk about the Bible all day, I don't really know, but like the more I like see the whole picture of the Bible, the more I'm like, oh God, it's all just like I don't know,
It's juicy.
It's
like
just
this
so
big
juicy.
burger that you just want to
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest, like, I guess, revelations about the Bible for me has been the fact that, you know, in John 1, the first, like, 14 verses of John it's one of my favorite passages in the entire Bible. And it starts with saying, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And, like, goes on to basically say, like, the Word is Jesus. And so when you read the Bible, you're literally reading Jesus in book form.
Yeah.
And that to me is, like, just crazy. Like, imagine if I could just read my husband in book form. Like, how great would our relationship be if I just had a book with all the answers to who my husband is. You know what I
That
mean?
makes so much sense.
Like, and that's what we get with the Bible and God, is like we literally get the handbook to God, and we get to know him through reading his word because he is the word. And that is incredible to me.
Yeah.
So I love that.
I love that too. I love that, like, no matter where... Oops, I turned the volume down. I love that no matter where you flip in the Bible, you can read a chunk and pick out, like, how it points to Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, it can seem that Jesus is so absent until the New Testament, and that the God of the Old Testament can seem so different from Jesus in the New Testament, but so much of the Old Testament points to him and ultimately how he's gonna, like, fix and fulfill everything. And it's just so hopeful, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Also, another thing. What was the original question? Because I just read that.
How does studying the word impact you?
Okay. This is like a little kind of off, but it's a tidbit off of you.
Yeah. I love that.
I think like when I was like reading in the Old Testament and stuff and seeing like how God like met us, like I just am so fascinated by covenants, I think.
We've talked about this.
about that a lot.
A couple episodes ago we talked a lot about this.
But how good God is in that, because like how like God is so big and he still meets us on this level of like that's honoring to us, and he wants to honor us, and like how respectful he is to make a covenant with us and then like fulfill that when we broke them over and over, you know. But like it's just like little things like that where it's like he got down on our level kind of, which I don't, maybe that's bad to say, but like
No,
yeah,
I
like,
genuinely think like that's another thing that points to Jesus, right? Like he doesn't see us as we are. He sees us post Jesus washing us in the blood, right?
Yeah.
And making us worthy and righteous of his presence and of his covenants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So even like in the Old Testament, when he's meeting these people who just seem like idiots,
Yeah.
you know, it's like he didn't see them as that.
Mhm.
He was already looking past what Jesus did.
Yeah.
And that is so beautiful to me too, because
Mhm.
I'm like, he sees our end product
Yeah.
type of thing versus the struggle that we are in the moment,
Yeah.
and treats us off of our best
Mhm.
type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead. That was so good.
No, yeah, that's good.
I love that.
It's just, yeah, I just love that he just
It's so sweet.
meets us where we're at.
He really does. Yeah.
Culturally too, like he meets us where we're at, which is like, I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe that's also controversial. I have no idea, but
No, I think that's true.
He has to.
what?
What? Say it.
So
You know what? The amount of, and this is so outside of our box and realm of God, but like the amount of people that are finding Jesus in the Quran right now, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like people are just finding in the Quran, and like
That's
it's
exciting.
like that's so outside of our like realm, but it's like he does meet us. That's just another thing to point back. Like he meets us where we're at in our culture, in
Yeah.
the things that we see,
Yeah.
And
he
I
shows
think
himself.
that speaks to the fact that it's so not on us to make sure that people like get saved.
Yeah,
Right.
You know what I
definitely,
mean?
yeah.
Like, because God does that. He goes out, and it's what you're saying, like his loving kindness that just continues to chase after. Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
is going to do everything in his power to make sure that you have revelation of him. Like there is no person who, you know, doesn't have revelation of him at some point. Like I truly believe that. And if there is, then I think he, you know, works it out, and that's up to him to decide who does and who doesn't. But I really think that no person can live through this life
Yeah.
and not have revelation of him and choose to either acknowledge it or don't, you know.
Not be faced with that choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, just ignore it. I think, like, because I remember we've kind of talked about, not on the podcast, but in personal conversations, like, I know of a story of a girl that came to the Lord through tarot cards,
Yeah, well,
and how that kind of, like, rocked my world in the beginning, because I was like, there's no way that, like, God would... Do you need to get that?
no,
Sorry. No, you're fine.
No, it should be fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. It just kind of rocked my world, because I was like, that doesn't sound like something God would do. But it really would. Like, he wouldn't leave you there and, like, let you stay in that. But if that's his, like, way to meet you and reveal himself to you, like, he will do whatever it takes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? But after that, there's expectation to get out of ungodly habits and stuff like that. But, like, he can show up in the most unfamiliar places. And I think we forget that, like, because he is ultimately, like, the light that shines on everything, like, he can go into the darkest places. He can reveal himself through the Quran. He can reveal himself through all of these things that aren't of him, because he's, like, the only thing that can withstand those things.
Yeah.
You know, humans have a hard time getting through to other humans who are involved in whatever, you know, fill in the blank. But ultimately, like, he's the light that shines through that, and it is so cool.
So cool.
It's so cool.
I love that. All right. So when we talk about studying the Bible, everyone does it a little differently. What does it look like for you?
Just look at you. I think recently.
What do you enjoy?
What do I enjoy? My most enjoyable way to study the Bible, I guess. I don't like. I think of like study the Bible. Sometimes I'm like, you sit down, you have to make notes, which is very good. But I think my favorite way to like read and like interpret things is like opening up the Psalms and just singing them. And like I think like sometimes if I'm just like and I just need a Jesus moment, I will like open my Bible and I'll sit at a piano and I'll just sing from the Psalms and just like sing around it, you know. I don't know. I think just worshiping with the word, so good.
That's fun.
I think that's my favorite thing to do, actually. Like I feel like
love
I
that.
get so much revelation too. Sometimes I just like sing out prayers if it's like speaking to me in Psalms. I'm like, okay, God, I really feel like you're convicting me of this. I'll pray out against it. And so, like, I don't know. I think that's my favorite way.
That's so good, because oftentimes we do think of studying the Bible as like you sit down and you're taking notes and you're, diving into all the Greek and Hebrew and doing all those things. And I am very much in a place in my life and just a place with God where I'm having to kind of reframe what my time with him looks like right now. And I love that you said that, because you are, I feel like there's no better way to like write the word on your heart than through song, because
There's science behind that.
and
so
like
cool.
Your brain and memorization and music.
Yes, and the fact that our voices are like our built-in instruments that God gave all of us, and they're meant to glorify him, and like that you can use it as a way to not only like connect with him through worship, but to connect with his word. It's just beautiful. Like it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that about you.
Yeah.
Because I've heard her do it and she's great at it.
I think there's like there's not just like a scientific reason to why that works so well and like gets the word in us, but I think there's also a spiritual thing behind it. And it's because that's literally how David wrote them.
Yes.
Like, we're not singing the same notes. We're not speaking the same language that he would have been singing out. But, like, the intention that he wrote those with, for them to be songs and for them to be just expressed in that way, I think when we kind of, like, not reenact, but when we kind of take it upon ourselves to try to explore that as well, I think that's powerful spiritually, because that's exactly what David was doing with them. And the other people that wrote the other ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, this is such a good question. I found this question and I was like, I really just want to know. If God gives you all the desires of your heart, what would happen in the next 6 months?
Oh gosh, that's such a big question.
I know.
It's so loaded.
What are the desires of your heart right now?
Yeah, maybe that's good.
That's it. That's the question.
Okay, yeah. The desires of my heart right now. I think. Let me think on this.
Sorry.
The thunder is thundering.
The thunder is thundering. Just got a flash of Thor. Sorry. That's ungodly.
Not here.
We are an Avengers positive.
Yeah, I think the desires of my heart, my deepest desire in my heart is to reach people with music and worship. I think for me that is like such a pure way to see God, is just by worshiping him. When it all strips away and it's not about performance or like how good you look, how good you sound, but it's just such a pure way to do it. And I think I would love just to somehow reach people with that. And so I think my desires of my heart right now would be honestly continuing what I'm doing. Like, I'm learning how to disciple young worship leaders and young people who love worship. So I think it's teaching me a lot. So I think actually exactly what I'm doing is what, God is, I don't know, he's moving, obviously, and he's teaching me a lot. And I think I need to be taught before I do it. But yeah, I think that's my deepest heart desire. Wow. Did it make sense?
Yes, and what an example of contentment.
Yeah.
That you just, I mean, you're like, this is the desire of my heart, and wow, God has me right where I want to be and right where I need to be. And you didn't say anything about, oh, I wish I had this or I wish I could do this. It was literally just like I think it's a beautiful thing when your heart's desires line up with God's will for your life.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you are right now, and that's such a beautiful space to be in. And I feel like it's such an example. Like, I think whenever I think of you, the first thing I think of in terms of God is seeking the kingdom first. Seek first the kingdom and all will be added. I can't tell you how many times I've heard you say that.
Yeah.
And that's literally what you've done. Like, you have sought his kingdom first, and now he has added to you all of your heart's desires. You know what I mean? And that is, like, it just makes me so honored to be your friend. Because, but I mean, truly, you don't just say it. Like, you are living it out, and you are exemplifying what it means to seek his kingdom first and just allow him to add to you all of the blessings that he wants to add on to you. And you're content in that. And that's, I think, where we should all want to be, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
We love you so much.
I think a good, like, challenge for us, considering where we live and all the perspectives that we've talked about the past hour, is like look at the desires of your heart and see the nature of them. Like, are they physical? Do they land on the more physical material side? And you just be super honest with yourself about it, because you can't grow if you're not honest. But are they more physical material side, which those aren't always bad desires to have, but, or are they more like inward, like, man, my desire would be to be more at peace, or like something like that. Or are they more like what you're talking about, like outward, kind of, my desire would be to do this for God, or to be in this with God and reach people. But I think that can tell you a lot about who you are. And yeah.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
All right, last question. We're going to end with this, and this is a question that we want to ask anyone who comes on as a guest to our podcast, because one of the big, I guess, missions for us for this podcast is to inspire and encourage Gen Z. And because we are technically Gen Z, we're 24 and 25, so we're on the upper end. You know, we're
like
zillennials.
The moms of Gen Z.
Yes.
Parent generation.
But, you know, this podcast in large part got started because Mel said to us, you know, you guys give me hope that Gen Z isn't lost. So the question that we want to ask everybody, but you're the first one, is what's one message that you'd like to give to Gen Z as a fellow Gen Zer?
Yes. I am a proud Gen Z. I absolutely adore Gen Z.
Yeah. I do too.
Yeah. I think a lot of people say a lot of things about Gen Z, but I think we're very much an activist generation. Like, we want to see things happen. And I think
that's statistically true.
Yeah, like, it literally is. And I think something that's so special that it's, like, happening right now is that you're either in it for God or you're not in it at all, you know? And so I think, yeah, I don't know what my message would be. I think, like, just going for it. And, like, older generations try and discourage you. Everybody. I mean, that's happens with every new generation, of course. But I think we can make a change genuinely, and I think we want to, and I think we want to see a change happen. And so I think just stepping out in confidence in that, and knowing that, like, God equips us for what he calls us to do. And just, that there's no fear in that. I don't know. Yeah, I think that would be my main thing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think that really puts into words, like, what we feel and what we observe is just that, like you said, people are, like, on or off. Made me think of the lukewarm scripture. Like, our generation truly feels like the least lukewarm generation that we've seen in our lives. Like, people have made their decisions, they're either on or off for the Lord. Like, there's not a lot of people that are just, like, sitting on the fence kind of chilling, and I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, it's both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Seems like.
Yeah. It's super special, I think.
I think it's really special too. I think
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, because I mean, once you're there, you're you're there. And you can't say that for very many other groups of people.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, let's finish up. Can you tell us where people can go to support you in your mission work?
Yeah. So you can support me. Couple ways. I have a little Instagram that I post like updates or prayer requests or stuff. It's called Kennedy Monday Missions.
And we'll link that.
All of this down in the description.
Yeah. Link down below. And also, if you would like to give to my mission, you can go through New Covenant Church.
Clyde, NC.
Yep.
Yeah,
New
we'll
Covenant
link that
Church,
as well.
Clyde, NC. And you can just go to Tithe and click Kennedy. Yeah. Or you can just, even on Instagram, you can personally text me. I love to, actually have a relationship with the people who are praying for me. I like to know things. So, yeah. DM me. Hit me up.
Love that. Yes.
Let me know.
And we'll also link the YWAM Whitsunday website, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Or the
Why'd you look at each other?
Sorry.
like that?
I was...
No. We'll link the YWAM Whitsunday website in case anybody wants to learn more about her base, maybe do a DTS.
Yeah, if you're interested in doing any kind of YWAM thing, there's so many options. If you're like, oh, I don't know about for me, literally yes for you. Just look up ywam.org and put your interest in there, and you'll find something.
And there's so many locations. There's so many locations all over the world.
Yes.
You don't have to go to Australia, but our little Kennedy would be there.
Yeah. You get to see me.
Yes, awesome. So if you want to support Kennedy in any way, we'll link everything down below. If it's just following her on Instagram, or if you feel like the Lord's put it on your heart to give to her work and her mission, we'll link that below as well. That is, again, through New Covenant Church in Clyde, North Carolina. There are other New Covenant churches, so you want to make sure it's the Clyde, North Carolina church, and we have a place where you can give specifically to her. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you, and you're headed back to Australia soon in just a few weeks, so we were glad we could get you while you're here, and then you'll be back in a year, and then who knows what will happen after that.
Who knows? She
Who
might
knows?
say.
I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see everyone next time. We'll be back in Hosea.
Yay!
Bye.